In a quiet Italian village, a girl named Lucia began speaking in a guttural voice that wasn't her own. At night, her body twisted unnaturally, whispering secrets about villagers' past sins. Priests were called, but even they trembled. Doctors couldn't find anything wrong. Her brain scans were clear, her blood tests normal. Yet Lucia still writhed on her bed, screaming ancient curses no one taught her. Was this illness or something darker? During the exorcism, witnesses say the room grew icy cold. The crucifix on the wall turned upside down by itself. One priest later confessed, "I've never felt evil so close, it wanted to break us all." Thousands of miles away in Mexico, a boy named Mateo began growling like a wild animal. His parents tied him down to keep him from biting. When a priest sprinkled holy water, his skin blistered where each drop landed. The priest shouted prayers louder and louder. Mateo thrashed until suddenly, silence. Then he smiled, eyes pitch black, and whispered in a voice not his own, "He's not done with you yet." In Poland, an entire church witnessed a woman float inches above the ground during Mass. Some fainted, others fled, but a few stayed clutching rosaries, unsure if they were seeing a miracle or a monstrous deception. Back in the US, a family noticed foul odors filling their home. Objects moved on their own. Their daughter Emma began speaking perfect Latin, a language no one in their lineage had ever studied. Psychiatrists tried to explain it all away. They diagnosed Emma with multiple disorders, but none could explain how crucifixes burned her skin or why she screamed whenever prayers were spoken over her. Witnesses recall that one night, Emma's voice changed again. It said, "She is ours." Then she convulsed violently, vomited dark sludge, and collapsed. Was this mental illness, or something clawing its way out? A local pastor came daily to pray over Emma. By the 10th visit, he left pale, hands trembling. "Whatever this is," he whispered, "it knows me by name, and it promised it would visit me next." In Germany, Anna lay strapped to her bed. Her voice would suddenly boom like thunder, reciting blasphemies in multiple languages she never learned. Even seasoned priests confessed they'd never faced such resistance. Neighbors swore they saw dark shapes move across Anna's window at night. Sometimes they heard laughter that wasn't human. The house itself seemed to breathe, groaning under an invisible weight. During one exorcism session, witnesses said her eyes rolled completely white. The floorboards cracked under her bed. Then she spoke in a man's deep voice. "Leave us. She is our vessel now." Anna's body wasted away, but her strength grew unnatural. It once took 4 grown men to hold her down. Doctors said it was impossible for her frail frame to fight back with such ferocity. Back in Brazil, another priest faced a possessed man whose skin crawled with black veins. When holy water touched him, the man convulsed and a foul steam rose, smelling of rot and sulfur. At a small chapel in Ireland, locals gathered to watch as a woman's body contorted backward until her hands touched her heels. She hissed ancient words no one could decipher. The air itself turned bitter cold. Doctors again were baffled. Blood tests, brain scans, everything normal. One physician admitted off record, "I've seen seizures. I've never seen eyes turn black or crucifixes fly off walls." When asked later why he never returned to treat the woman, the doctor simply said, "Because something in that room knew I didn't believe, and it smiled at me." In the Philippines, a young boy named Kaloy began screaming every midnight. Each time, scratches appeared on his back, deep, angry gashes that bled through his shirt, though no one ever saw what clawed him. A local exorcist performed prayers over Kaloy's house. Suddenly, windows shattered inward. Voices erupted from nowhere, wailing, "He belongs to us!" Then silence fell heavy, suffocating the room. In Poland, priests claimed the smell of burnt hair filled the chapel during an exorcism. The girl on the floor laughed with a voice that sounded like gravel. Candles nearby melted sideways, wax dripping against gravity. After hours of prayer, the girl suddenly went limp. Her eyes fluttered open, innocent once more, whispering, "Why are you all crying? Was I asleep?" None of them could explain the scorch marks left on the pews. In rural Mexico, a boy began speaking perfect Latin, cursing saints by name. His family barely understood Spanish, let alone ancient languages. The boy's own grandmother refused to enter the house again. One witness swore he saw a dark shape detach from the boy's shoulders, crawl across the ceiling, then vanish through the wall, leaving behind a smell like rotting meat. Doctors were flown in from the city. They strapped the boy down for psychiatric evaluation, but hours later they emerged pale and silent, refusing to ever speak of what they witnessed inside. Meanwhile, in India, villagers flocked to watch a woman possessed by countless voices. Her throat bulged unnaturally as deep chants poured out, male, female, old, young, all from her single mouth. When the exorcist sprinkled holy water, her body convulsed so violently that dust exploded off the floor. The air turned freezing, breath visible in plumes, though it was the height of summer. In Italy, a man's eyes rolled back, showing only whites, as he spoke flawless Greek, a language he never studied. "Your prayers are weak," he growled. Then he spit up iron nails, still warm to the touch. Neighbors reported that after each exorcism session, screams echoed from the house for hours. Even the local police avoided the street after dark. They said the shadows there seemed to watch them back. Still, every priest called in insisted on continuing. "This is beyond human," one whispered after leaving the house, tears in his eyes. "But God wins, so we must keep trying." In the Philippines, a teenage girl thrashed so violently during prayers that it took 6 grown men to hold her down. Her tiny body seemed to carry monstrous strength, bruising arms and leaving claw marks on the floorboards. Suddenly she fell silent. Her eyes fluttered open, and in a child's voice she asked softly, "Why are you hurting me?" before bursting into sobs. No one knew if it was really her speaking or something mocking them. Back in France, monks claimed they heard hundreds of whispers in the dark during a midnight exorcism. The words seemed to echo from every corner of the stone abbey, yet when they searched, there was no one there. One monk collapsed, clutching his ears. When they lifted his hood, they found dried blood trickling from his ear canal. "They were laughing at me," he wept, "all laughing in my head." In rural Kenya, villagers gathered under a lone tree where a possessed woman hung by her arms, suspended by nothing they could see. Her feet kicked the air desperately, eyes rolling back as she shrieked in multiple voices. When a local pastor commanded the spirits to leave, she dropped like a stone, gasping and clawing at the earth. The ground where she fell smoldered faintly for hours, leaving behind a scorched ring. In Canada, a priest's rosary turned black in his hands mid-prayer. The metal links burned his palms, leaving raised welts in the shape of tiny crosses. He dropped it, trembling, and whispered, "Not by my power, Lord, only yours." Locals later saw strange lights dancing around the church that night. Some claimed they were angels fighting unseen battles, while others swore they were souls still tormented, unable to cross over. A skeptic once entered a home mid-exorcism, scoffing loudly. Moments later, he staggered outside, clutching his throat, unable to breathe. He fell to his knees, eyes wide with terror, as if something invisible squeezed the very life from him. Later that night, he refused to ever return. His only words were, "There are things in that house no science can fix. Pray hard or don't go in at all." In Argentina, a woman undergoing exorcism suddenly howled so loud the windows cracked. She spat out pins and needles, dozens of them, though none had been in her mouth moments before. Priests later collected the pins, shocked to find them warm as if freshly forged. One whispered, "This is not from here," while crossing himself over and over. In Greece, villagers witnessed a boy float inches above his bed. chanting dark hymns in perfect ancient Hebrew. When asked how he knew such words, his only reply was a sinister grin that didn't reach his eyes. Doctors strapped him down, hoping for science to explain what faith had failed to. But by dawn, the straps had shredded like paper, claw marks gouged deep into the walls around him. In the final exorcism, he screamed one last time, a sound so chilling that even the strongest men fled the room. When they returned, he lay asleep, whispering softly, "He wouldn't let them take me." Thousands of miles away, a nun in Italy described seeing dark shapes dance on the ceiling during exorcisms. They circled the possessed like vultures, waiting, hungry for the soul beneath. She swore that whenever prayers were strongest, those shadows shrieked without sound, twisting as if burned by invisible fire. It was then she knew this was more than human madness. A pastor once whispered, "You think you've seen fear? Wait until a demon says your name." His eyes darted to the corner of the room, as if still haunted by voices only he could hear. In all these stories, pins spit out, voices in forgotten tongues, bodies levitating, skeptics cling to logic. But faith sees a battlefield where souls are fought for every single day. So what do you believe? That it's all illness and fear? Or that in dark rooms across the world, light still breaks through, proving God's power is far greater than any shadow that dares to whisper your name?